Tonight on Sign. Jerry. I found this golf ball at this girl in fucking department, bro. Should I be concerned? Stanza, you shouldn't be concerned. It's just the old 10-arm bogey. Jerry, what do you mean 10-arm bogey? You just make up words. You just say words. Nobody's heard of that. They gave us 10 Emmys and we coined the term regifting. So, Seinfeld. I hate the color correction right now. Let me see if I can balance. White balance. Balanced. That is being self-referential. Much like today's topic, I fucking hate that this is stuck on a blue hue. Oh my god. I didn't know you could pull that down. I'm gonna take a screenshot of this so that you can see. Because I like legitimately didn't know that you could how do I feel like a boomer. Oh my god. Even fucking screenshot my phone without locking it. Oh my god, this video is so topical. Fucking burp counter. I don't do a burp counter. I want to. I should. Getting off topic. Okay, so, hi, welcome. Seinfeld is so ever famously a show about nothing. In being a show about nothing, Seinfeld is very much a show about everything. There is an implied ... nothing in particular. Because Seinfeld is about the mundane, the social minutiae, and social dynamics of the world around us. When this line is so ever famously uttered in Seinfeld's meta-contextual later seasons, in which George Costanza and Jerry Seinfeld, I almost called him Larry Seinfeld, very similar names, but George Costanza, Jerry Seinfeld are pitching Seinfeld to network executives. This line is uttered. And if you didn't know, George Costanza is a stand-in character for Larry David, who would later go on to write the spiritual successor, soft sequel, spin-off to Seinfeld, Curb Your Enthusiasm. Where am I going with this? This is a video about nothing, but it's a video about play, writing, comedy, social dynamics, whatever the fuck. It's about being creative. And before you click off and I do my ad read, listen. It's not gonna be that type of video, but it is.
What's the deal with the DMV? Niggas is unifying as we speak, and as we speak, niggas hating me. While they hate me, they sending beats for a fucking feature. Yeah. And what's the deal with these rap features? Half with a rapper should've took the grass pushing. I'm glad pushing the envelope, it's mad open. It shows I know a bit. Rasputia. And what's the deal with Rasputia? I mean Eddie Murphy, Swine getting Murray. He got a wife, ex-wife, and a baby mother in the same year, but I ain't judging. What's the deal with these niggas judging? I moved from DC in 99 something. I got a #1 spot, who gon' take it from me? And I ain't never left, that's why I'm making money. What's the deal with making money? And why black niggas can't get enough of it? But too much gets you viewed in the news, youngin', for shooting done to you or with losing money. It's true, youngin', what's the deal with these little youngins? When true religions make your butt look ugly, youngin'. Let me put you on the Joe, I'll put you on the Frank. You tell me what you is, can't tell me what you ain't. I can tell you this a tape, collection of freestyle that I just wanna make, and not a single feature.
This is a video about nothing, but the actual implied topic is that it is a video about inspiration. Yay. Okay, so, my personal favorite episode of Seinfeld would either be the Chinese restaurant or the parking garage, both because they are the most mundane of scenarios for somebody to make an entire TV show episode about. One episode follows the leads, the gang, going to a Chinese restaurant and essentially just waiting for a fucking table.
We should have left earlier. I told you.
I don't see any way we can eat and make this movie.
Oh, well, I have to eat.
Well, let's just order it to go. We'll eat it in the cab.
Eat it in the cab? Chinese food in a cab?
We'll eat it in the movie.
What? Where do you think you're going? Do you think that they have big picnic tables there?
The other follows them losing their car in a parking garage.
Well, I thought it was here.
You don't know where we parked? This is great.
Look, I thought it was green 22.
I remember orange. I thought it was orange.
I didn't pay attention.
But what I love about Seinfeld is the way it snowballs its comedy. I'll come back to that. But it is very much about the humor, the painfully boring, and the mundane. It's a show about nothing. It is such a luxury to be bored in today's economy. Um, this is a video about canned laughter, or not. It's a video about nothing. It's a video about awkward silence, inspiration. I'm reading off my fucking iPad. I wrote this out, okay? Um, that being said, the real byline of this video is that this is a hyphenated byline, by the way. So I'm gonna try and read it in a hyphenation type voice. This is the video I'm making to get over a creative roadblock to alleviate the pressure to get myself back on schedule. Though, that doesn't have a nice ring to it. So this is a video about nothing is the title. Soft bait and switch, but what's the deal with holding your a microphone as a prop when you're actually using a lapel mic? What's the deal with that last fucking clip? What's the deal with how aggressive this fucking angle looks where I haven't backed out of frame yet, and this looks like that one image on Tumblr where that dude with the fucking belt terrorized everybody for like a decade. You know which one I'm talking about, the motherfucker pointing. What the deal is, and the deal with that last clip is that innately comedy writing, all of that, needs some room for fluidity. It needs room for change. It needs air. And those are, in fact, the rules of engagement for comedy. No script is truly airtight. With comedy especially, you need to have room for things to have subject to change. Naturally, things play out. They happen, you know. A lot of comedy is improvisation, like I just did. He played it off. You never would have known. Actually, probably would have known that I fucked that line up. It's okay. So, Seinfeld is more or less the big changing of the guard in television comedy. While there are other shows before and after it that are equally as important to the landscape of comedy as well as television, I'd really argue that it was Seinfeld that really pushed the envelope and pushed us into the modern television era we know today. Seinfeld, with its canned laughter, reflects the sitcom era of television it was made in, though Seinfeld, by today's standards, is nothing new, but in its time it was groundbreaking. None of its leads were inherently likable, and I mean debatable, but I'm speaking in broad marketing strokes here. They were all very normal. It was TV, yes, but it was down to earth in a way that offered a reprieve from the decades of canned clap tracks as well as canned laughter. The idea of the leads not being likable puts them in more down-to-earth situations because they oftentimes react how quote-unquote normal people wouldn't, and I'll touch on that again later. Though I'd argue that the true subversive sitcom that changed the guard and ushered in the era would be Married with Children. I haven't seen it, take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. Though it is indicative of its time by subverting the happy family trope, I'd even argue it helped pioneer the genre of humor that is now certified Facebook gold, known as I Fucking Hate My Wife. And even though that's really weird to me, it was in quote-unquote open secret at the time that was very funny, and this is the same kind of tropes and ideals and standards for not only American culture at large as well as television culture and how it reflected a certain ideal of American culture that something like the Addams Family also playing into similar ideas and tropes of what a happy American family should look like. Well, this isn't to ignore something like the subversive elements and fourth wall breaks in something like Fresh Prince. I'd argue that those in Fresh Prince are more used for single take gags rather than being a part of the entire dynamic and narrative framework of the show.
We so rich. Why we can't afford no ceiling?
Seinfeld is really so far removed from what we think of as modern television, as well as a good TV sitcom. Nowadays, most TV shows are multicam and not filmed in front of a live studio audience. This is not a video essay. This is about 20 minutes of aggressive Googling and mostly being told from memory alone. That being said, the studio audience and this concept and idea was mostly dead by the early 2000s, with the exception of late night, because during the 2000s, this is when TV shows got more quote-unquote cinematic. They foregoed canned laughter and made what I like to describe as the break or pause after a joke. And while I hate to go all I took theater on you, yes, I was a lead in the fucking theater play, and I took theater multiple years throughout elementary as well as high school. So I think in explaining a lot of the rules of engagement and how live theater and acting and how comedy's taught to you in the theater environment can help better articulate and illustrate what makes television comedy work in the way it does. On stage, theater, all of that, there's the break, right? It's a form of cheating out similar to a lot of theater techniques that I can't really illustrate or don't really have any value in me telling you. But the break in and of itself is used for timing as well as an audience participation element, but it's a soft audience participation element, meaning that breaks come after a big moment to give pause and breath for audience reaction. Let them have their reaction simmer down, and then the show continues. So you tell a joke, said joke lands, there's other lines that need to be said after that joke, right? Well, that's what the break is in comedy. But television comedy, because it's meant to be watched in a private home environment, both still has a break, but the break is now a lot different because it's not a break that's designed for a live studio audience. So on a modern TV show, it's something like this. The Office, right? Crash zoom, Jim size, looks at the camera. That's a break. Not only a fourth wall break, but like an actual comedic break for you to react, right? And now Jim is being interviewed saying probably what your internal monologue is thinking about how you would react in the situation. But it's done in a documentary-like fashion. And this is famously the vibe that Curb Your Enthusiasm would kind of usher in, just somewhat less aggressively. Larry gets into a wacky situation, looks at the camera, right? There's a certain pace and tension to Curb, but the tension and the pace is made in the cut, and the pace itself is made by its edit. Take the episode of Ben's birthday party, for example.
Hey. What's all that? Look at all those gifts.
I thought you said that we weren't supposed to bring a present.
He said no gifts. I don't get it.
Hello?
Hey!
Hi, guys.
Let me ask you something. Did you guys bring a gift to this thing?
Yeah.
See,
He said no gifts.
Nobody means that. You took that seriously? You don't...
Of course I did. Look at all these.
I know.
Oh, what do you got there? Chicken?
The humor so obviously in the exchange itself and the fact that we've all been here. But the pace and tension is made within the internal conflict of how Larry or you would react in said situation, right? Like, why the fuck, like, now I look stupid. Now I look like a dickhead. I'm showing up to the party. You told us not to bring gifts, but lo and behold, y'all brought fucking gifts type shit. Best way to really articulate the difference in the comedic styles of both Curb and Seinfeld, in both being situational comedies, sitcoms, right, is that the humor in Seinfeld seems to be more singular jokes packaged around a one-off scenario, where Curb seems to really constantly snowball and raise its stakes. In the entire episode, feel like a long joke. Also, Curb is a little bit more like over the top in terms of its scenarios and the situations and how they play out, as opposed to Seinfeld. And with it being filmed with an early era digicam, it has a very, for lack of a better term, mildly surrealist, Inland Empire type vibe. The following jump scare was removed due to poor test audience reception. Thank you for your understanding. Jump scare sucks! I didn't like the scary part. Why? Why the scary part? I don't watch Seinfeld! Due to the actual textual varnish created by the choice of camera, which was just a common trend at the time. So this textual byproduct was done completely on accident. We can see this textual byproduct being employed in a more intentional way in something like Tim and Eric, where the use of retro equipment such as digicams, etc., all play into a greater satirization of local TV culture. Also see this slightly surreal nature and the way the digicam aesthetic can heighten a show's comedy or its value, or give a tonal dissonance in something like Always Sunny, which to me has always felt like Seinfeld on steroids, or Curb on steroids. It's that same unlikable, the most not normal thing to do in a situation style of humor, just amped up to 11. Because of the digicams in the early season, it has a really unique vibe to it, and it's kind of better for it.
Has been declined. Declined? You're kidding me. Ugh. It makes me so mad. You know, like the credit card companies, the way they waste your time. Probably protecting me. I spent a lot of money today. Try that one.
Excuse me.
Oh, God. Did it not go through?
So, listen, while it might make me sound like an asshat, it plays into the greater theme and idea of this video. Listen, I'm changing my clothes between takes. While your favorite YouTuber might wear the same sweaty shirt for 4 days in a row as they film a video, I'm not about that life, right? Much like a sitcom is built off the familiarity of certain jokes, premises, setups, and executions, running gags, etc., etc. YouTube is built off of familiar tropes, ideas, etc., etc. And it's probably jarring for you as a viewer to watch me change my outfit between takes, but listen, this is not a movie. I don't need a fucking continuity editor. That being said, with this show being about inspiration, mildly metacontextual, and about play being that I'm actively making creative choices on the fly as I write this, I've decided that in my script, I do not have the capacity, budget, or facilities to execute a joke the way I originally intended to. So I used the clip that was the original inspiration for that joke, and I'll now explain to you how I was inspired and how that joke was originally supposed to play out. So if you've ever seen the Yellow People cartoon, at the start Bart's all like writing his Bart is usually scribbling on a whiteboard, right? I will not blah 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 blah, right? So I was gonna do I will not play the Seinfeld theme, right? A bunch of times, and I was gonna run out of my bedroom and eat shit. But I don't have the capacity to execute that joke in a way that would give it the value it needs, right? Give it the breadth and be executed in the full facility that it would be to look good. I can't make it look good in budget. That's what I'm saying, right? And I think making those creative choices while also making creative risks and decisions that you can do in budget and, pushing the boundaries of what you can do are what make shows like Always Sunny, especially in its early seasons when they were on a fucking shoestring budget, feel so cool. That's why the Nightman episode is so fucking iconic. That's why the pool episode is so iconic, because the way they play with their budget and play with ideas and do things that are within their scope is super sick, right? That being said, the scope of this scene is running out, right? Meaning I have run out of steam and lost things to talk about, so I should probably cut and break for commercials. But the issue is that I make hee funny har har YouTube videos. So how can I make this hee funny har har? I can cut myself off. I'm not gonna do that. That's disrespectful. Right? That's mean. Why would I cut myself off as a fucking editor? That's really rude. That's really rude, and that's mildly condescending to not only myself but to you as the viewer, because it implies that what I have to
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Howdy, my name is Bill Crusario, owner and CEO of this here Somnia Furniture. Now, why is it called Somnia Furniture? Because I can't fucking sleep at night, because for the better part of the past decade, I've been giving you, your family, and everybody this side of the Mississippi the baddest deal in town. Because here at Somnia Furniture, our couches are plush standard. But our interest rates are so bad and hidden through malicious texts that they'd make a payday loan look like a generous handout. So why don't you come pay us a visit at Old Somnia? We're open 7 days a week, excluding most holidays. I don't know, maybe I should take this section out. I don't even think there's anything inherently wrong with self-optimization. Is there anything really so inherently bad about having a skincare routine? I mean, women's beauty has existed for the better part of a century. It's an entire fucking industry. Is it the performance of it that makes it feel off? Or is it the overly exaggerated nature of it all that makes it feel off? Cause I know damn well this nigga is not dunking his fucking face in a bucket of ice water every morning. Or maybe he is, forming this sense of superiority with superfluous actions on a daily basis outside of the camera itself. But God, even the act of just waking up every day and filming like your daily routine in that way. There's nothing wrong with the routine itself, it's just the act of having to perform the performance. Yet here I am, referencing, mentioning, and making a whole segment in my video about it. Here I am, directly or indirectly influenced by him. We all have the same 24 hours in our day. Why can they do it and I can't? All these people do it and I can't. But I'm sure you, viewer, probably don't want to hear about this existential malaise. So let's circle back to the topic of comedy. One of the largest rules in comedy is punch up, never punch down. Oftentimes you can feel like you're punching left or right, especially when a lot of that type of content is obviously like super self-indulgent and very aspirational in a lot of ways. But like, am I better than anybody for acting like I don't, to a certain extent, want aspects of that lifestyle? Like, can't say that, right? But I can also make fun of the fact that like, dude has a woman as a prop off screen, like this is the fucking Powerpuff Girls. I can sit here and make videos that make fun of dudes with fucking 8K cameras, you know, making quote unquote cinematic content, right? While here I am in the camp of comfy core, cozy YouTubers, iPad baby adjacent. Here's my fucking shot on iPhone video in my Fire Ravine backpack. Yes, I do own a Fire Ravine backpack. But in a lot of ways, it feels less aggressive and more humble. Because where is the actual value in adding a fucking 8K drone shot to a get ready with me morning routine? And I'm speaking in pure rules of cinema and storytelling here. If an 8K red whatever fucking model camera makes your video inherently cinematic, then I guess the newest film release at Redacted Adult Studio Redacted is going to be nominated for Best Cinematography and Best Direction Oscar next year. And going back to influence and you and I and how you and I use influence in our own work, right? Whether it be direct or indirect. In a lot of ways, my output is a direct result of my input. So as weird as this is gonna say, motherfuckers who are making fucking videos with the sensuality of a as weird as this is gonna sound, that's the correction. That's me doing the correction. This right here, this is me doing the correction, right? Motherfuckers making cooking videos. I'm not doing another take, right? That was a fantastic take other than that one line error, okay? This is me dubbing it. 1970s fucking midnight movie, I have to ask, what do you sit around watching all day? And why is the inside joke of your cinematography that it looks like it belongs on an adult website? Certain value and element in parodying and satiring something, right? Like there is an unwritten byline in any parody or satire. What is the inherent parody or satire in the use of slapping your chicken breast with this inherent sensuality? Real gag and joke is that the byline of all this content that I'm talking about, mocking or making fun of, is mostly made or with attention to the female gaze, quote unquote, and I say female gaze in the most broad term, inverting the idea of what we know as the male gaze, right? There's nothing inherently wrong with this type of content, especially when it's consumed by an age-appropriate audience. It would be an inherently pearl-clutching of me to say so and act like. Especially knowing that content that is the inverse of that gender-wise is more abundant all over the internet and just as strange and weird out of context. I don't know. Comedy's hard. I feel like I have a boomer or like very cynical sense of humor. Like, I think fucking Airplane is the funniest movie ever made.
Hey, Larry, where's the forklift? Forklift! It's over there by the baggage loader.
Airplane is also not stand-up style comedy. It's more situation and observational comedy. Asking, would you like to be in smoking or non-smoking, and holding up 2 tickets and one of them literally being smoking.
I'd like 1 ticket to Chicago. No baggage.
Smoking or non-smoking?
Smoking, please.
There. Have a nice trip.
You can see plenty of influence and reference throughout my work, and I hope to see the same in yours, view. The video, I hope it inspired you to think about the stuff you consume and maybe make something cool or funny about it. So, okay, that was, oh my god, I fucking hate when my hair's in my eyes. Oh my god, that's so bad for your eyesight, by the way. But, hi. So, that was the preamble to the end of the video. This is the true end of the video, the ending monologue. The reason why I made this video, and I hate to feel like a buzzkill because it makes me feel like a buzzkill, was just mainly because, like, I was inspired by dude jumping in the pool because I thought it was funny. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna parody that, blah, blah, blah. And, like, as I was looking for clips, everybody was like, dude, bruh, so weird. And, like, I couldn't even find, like, his original source for the fucking video, and it just agitated the fuck out of me because I was like, do y'all like understand comedy? Does anybody understand satire whatsoever? So yeah, this is me explaining comedy and satire to you. That being said, sorry if I sound like an arrogant prick. I'm not trying to be one. It's just like kind of annoying. But I also understand that, like, you know, explaining jokes kills the vibe. That means that thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend some time with me. I'm, as always, greatly appreciated. I hope this inspired you. I hope this makes you more interested in comedy and just ways in which you can personally work some of these subversive elements into your own comedy and or whatever you do in your life. Maybe you do make workout videos, subvert them a little bit, bro. Let's see something cool, bro. I hope you are very inspired. I don't know. Have a nice one. Bye.